Hey everyone, thank you for listening to another episode of Spoiler Force Podcast courtesy of Popluck. You can find more episodes of Spoiler Force Podcast on Apple Podcast, SoundCloud, YouTube, or on Facebook at facebook.com/popluckpodcast.
What's going on? This is LP, and you're listening to Spoiler Force Podcast.
Alright, so this is episode 35 of Spoiler Force Podcast. My name is Ricky, and thank you for tuning in. And Happy New Year to every one of you that's listening and that's been following my podcast and my overall journey. So this week, I was able to finally get this guest on the podcast. We've been talking back and forth since like August, and just due to like personal stuff and time, man, I was like so concerned. I'm like, because I really wanted him on this podcast because I know he's been a huge staple in the Hmong music community, and if you don't know him by now, man, that's sad for you guys. So I do want to introduce my guest here, for me, one of the best Hmong rappers in the game, one of the best producers, a staple in the Hmong community. LP, thank you for doing this, man.
What's going on, man? No, thank you for having me on your podcast, man. Like you said, though, we've been going back and forth about it for a while, but I'm glad that we can finally make it happen.
I think the timing was perfect too, especially with the new year and everyone's going like heavy with 2020, and everyone wants to make it big. So having you for the first guest and for the first episode of this year alone, man, it's huge because when I was sponsoring the ad on Facebook, man, everyone was like, "Yo, you got LP, man?" I'm like, "Yeah, I finally got him." Like all my buddies on Facebook, like, you better like make sure he's he books it with you and stuff like that. And I was. Honestly, I was like I was really nervous this morning. I was like, holy shit, I'm really like podcasting with LP right now. Mm-hmm. And the thing is, like, we've spoken in the past, outside of the music and all that stuff. But like, to me, growing up with your music too, it's like I've always known you as LP. And for those of you who are listening, fun fact here. LP and I are actually related through marriage because his uncle married my aunt. Yeah. So I see LP from like time to time.
We see each other every now and then.
Yeah. So it's really cool. Like, and it's funny because like seeing LP as Paul versus LP, it's very different for me because I remember the first time I saw you perform. I was like in middle school still, and Uncle Meng was like, "Come check out my nephew. He's gonna rap on stage." I was like, "What's his stage name?" He goes, "LP." I was like, "What does that stand for?" He's like, "It's Lil Paul." So is that? For those who don't know, does that still stand for Lil Paul, or is it different now?
It's different now. Well, I guess you could say that was what it was in the beginning, and then I decided to switch it and use it as a lyrical producer because you know how I rap and produce.
Okay.
So I decided for those L and P to stand for that, and it went too. So.
Yeah, I always found it like funny throughout like this entire time of your rap career, like and producing career too. Like people thought that it was originally lyrical producer, and I guess a lot of the more fans who followed you from the beginning know what your name stood for at first. I find that so hilarious reading the comments now on on your YouTube channel and stuff. Like, no, it means lyrical producer. No, it means this. No, it means that. So like it's the acronym is perfect for people to keep debating about it still. Yeah. But yeah, like. I remember that New Year specifically because not because you performed too, but there was a guy, I don't know who it was, but he performed a song and he remixed one of like the Final Fantasy piano music. Mm-hmm. I remember that perfectly because I think it was either before or after you performed on stage. I don't know who it was, but that always stuck out in my mind because like I'm a huge Final Fantasy fan, so anything to do with that music stands out. But yeah, like. That's the first time I heard you perform, and then I didn't really get into your music until I think I was in 8th grade. I was working at Uncle Meng's restaurant, and the drive from their house on the farm to the restaurant, they'd always put on your music, and I think one of the songs that really stood out for me was your track for My Peoples when you remixed Jackie Chan's song for The Myth, and that was a good movie too. But yeah, that's when I really started getting into your music because of that. And then I've heard your remixes from your If Everyone Cared remixed, and then some of the features you had. I don't know who the girl is. I think what's her name, like Angel or something.
Angel,
I heard that song with that you've had, and then your albums from like Still Grindin', and then Like I never knew that you worked with Rare before,
Mm-hmm.
so that was like with Shaolin Entertainment. Was
Yeah.
that how you first started too?
Yeah, that was how I really got out there at first. Cause even before them, I was still doing it, and I would like record at home and make like burnt CD copies, right? And then I would go to like the tournaments and the New Year's and pass them out and sell them. I went out of town and then I met them, right? It was like Hmong Rapper. I was like, oh, they're cool. And I asked them like, oh, you guys wanna, are you guys looking for artists to put out or whatever? And then at first they wasn't really interested, but then like I kept seeing them. I think I probably met them like 3 different times, and then like as I kept seeing them, I got better. So I would give them like a new mixtape. So by the time they got like the 3rd one, that's when they was like they finally hit me back up. Like I think they emailed me or something, and it's like, oh yeah, we're we want to get down with you. And then it was like that was like '05 when we finally got together, and then I flew out to Milwaukee for like 2 weeks, and we recorded my first official album, which was This Time. But before that, like that was the official one with Shaolin with Rare. But before that, I had released like a couple, I guess you could say mixtapes or whatever. But those are pretty ancient now, and I don't really want nobody to find those. I still got a few copies, but
yeah, but people still have like those CDs, and they still even like upload some of your older songs on YouTube. Which surprisingly, it's not under your name, but like some people still have it, and they give you the credit still.
Mm-hmm.
And I was listening to some of your older music at work like earlier this week, and the progression is very different from back then versus now, and which is a good thing. And I know you went to school for music too, right?
Yeah, back in 2008, I went to Florida, and I went to Full Sail University. It was a great experience, but I mean, I don't know. I guess you could say for the cost, to me, it wasn't worth it, but for the experience, it was cool.
I find that I find that really like ironic because a lot of people went to digital arts before it got big. They went to school for that, and now it's like everyone can learn that without going to school.
Yeah.
So I there's a huge shift in that too, because everyone's learning from like YouTube,
Yeah.
and even I'm like learning some of the simple stuff on my own.
Yeah, because basically the stuff they teach you is it's like what you said, common knowledge, but then it's just the experience. That's all it is, and you get to meet people and network. Like to me, that's like the biggest part that I got from it. But other than that, like the things we learn is like, yeah, some of it is cool, but most of the things like you can just learn that on your own. It's not really anything that is required, you know.
Were they teaching you like how to market yourself as well if you wanted to start your own small business or something like that?
Yeah, it was like there was multiple classes on multiple things. Like one was that, and then one would be like, basically just mixing, mastering, producing. It was a bunch of different stuff.
It was like 4 years, or
No, I only went for a year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So it was like a short course.
Yeah.
And so originally you've been living in Michigan for a long time, but you're actually from Rhode Island, right?
Yep, born in Rhode Island.
Okay.
I think I was about 4 when we moved to Michigan. So I've been here for almost my whole life.
Yeah, because I know this again because Uncle Mang is from Rhode Island, and he's a singer too.
Yeah.
So music runs in your family pretty much. And I guess what started the whole rap career that you wanted to do up to now, like just producing and music? Is that something that you've always wanted to do?
Actually, no. I think it hit me like when I was a teenager. Probably like 12, 13. That's when I really got into rap, and then I just told my dad like, hey, can you help me find like a program to where I can record myself, or like just to try things out. And he's like, yeah. And then he found this program at this computer store. I forgot what store it was, but it was called, I think it was like EDJ or something like that. So it was just like a recording program. And then the thing is, they had like loops and stuff. So at this time I had no musical background. I don't know anything about music, right? And so I would just put these loops together, and then it would make a beat, and I was like, oh, that's kind of sweet. And then that's how I started getting into producing. But before that, I was already trying to get into rap a little bit here and there. I would just like I would use my dad's handheld recorder and play music in the background and rap to it and like record cassette tapes. I don't have any more of those tapes, but like that's how it started. And then with the producing, yeah, I had got that program, tried that out, and then it wasn't really producing yet. That was just like putting loops together. But then I had got another program called Magic's Music Maker, and that one kind of really taught me like how to really sequence stuff and put beats together. But I didn't really get into producing until I think it was like I was in high school, probably like I was like a freshman or a sophomore, and then I had some Lost boys that went to school with me, so they introduced me to Fruity Loops. So shout out to Lousy Boys. I still talk to those guys every now and then too, but they introduced me to Fruity Loops, and it's been Fruity Loops ever since. So to this day, that's what I still use, man.
So I guess with your progression in music from then till now, again, like I've said this already, like you're a staple in this Hmong community, especially for music, because you were one of the few that actually brought change to the whole dynamic of music, right? Because everyone wants to, or at least the OGs, they wanted to stick with the more like Salavang type music and traditional. And, but you brought a more westernized, Americanized version of music. And you and all the other rappers that came along with you was before the digital age. So you guys were like actually handing out physical copies. Yeah. Actually like trying to market yourselves with physical flyers and like trying to drive around and meet new people versus today where it's so much easier with just a share button, you know?
We couldn't just put something out on YouTube and press share. We like for them to even hear us, we would have to be there. You know what I mean? So it was a lot of traveling, but it was fun. I mean, like that kind of like I guess you enjoyed the grind more and you appreciated it more back then, you know, because that you had to do that, you know, as part of it.
Do you miss any of that at all versus today, where it's more easier?
I guess you could say yeah, I do, because like when you actually see people do that, then you know who's serious and who's not. You know what I mean? Versus today, where I can just upload a song and then be the biggest thing and then like really don't even have to go out there and put in that work, so then like you kind of take it for granted, you know what I mean? Okay. But then like for back then, like if you was really about it, you would have to travel and go places and actually spend money to make money. Now you just upload a song and boom, you can be like, people would think, oh, he's a star now, but all they really have is something on YouTube, but really no work put into it, you know? So it's like, to me, it's just kind of like, I don't know, you lose the appreciation for the grind, I guess you could say.
Did you ever feel like that? Like did you ever have that feeling of being a superstar? Or do you kind of just keep yourself kind of more down to earth?
I don't know. I never felt that way at all. Because, like, you know, you know, you met me at family gatherings and stuff like that, right? And it's always just, you know what I mean? Like, I never really see myself like that. Like, even when people try to tell me, like, yeah, you know, but I'm just like, I don't know. I don't see it. You know?
Yeah, that's what I've mentioned. Like meeting you, like outside of this stuff, like the whole music stuff. Like when it's just Paul, it's a different take on you because you're the family guy with you and your kids and your family, and like it's not like business or nothing, anything like that. You know, so I've always liked that about you, that you just kind of been yourself, and authenticity is something that a lot of people are not really having anymore because it's either you're fronting on the internet or you're not. You know, so like so you've been very genuine from the start. And do you think that's something that a lot of artists should kind of just bring back instead of just always trying to front to?
Yeah, well, I mean, to me, yeah, because I just feel like, you know, if you can't be yourself in your music, then it's like there's really no point of you doing it, you know, because I just like things that are genuine. That's why to me it's like I'm like more genuine artists, I'm just more attracted to that. Like, I don't know, like with the guys that I work with, you know, like you met them, like TL and Art and Jer, you know, those guys, like it's like everybody's just more genuine. Like I just like to keep it like that. But I guess like some people when they do put up a front, it's just to make sales. I mean, it's not a bad thing, you know. Everybody has their own ways of doing business, but you know, that's just something I couldn't do myself, you know.
Right. And speaking of that too, I mean, have you ever, I guess, had run-ins where people thought you were putting on front and like had some sort of like rap beef or anything like that?
Me personally, no, I haven't. Because I always try to stay like humble and keep it 100, I guess, all the time. Cause like I'm not gonna say anything or do anything that I'm not that's not really me. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I would never put myself in that position.
I guess lately there was a lot of the rap beef going on for a while, for like a month, the past month and a half. You know, like, I mean, honestly, it's just like videos going back and forth. Yeah, it's just the spur up like likes and stuff. But still, I found it very funny because like I thought about it and I was like, man, Paul's never really, I guess, battled anyone on the internet. You know, like gone back and forth.
The only time was MC Hurricane, but it was like it was a joke. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was like I just wanted to join in on the fun, but then some people really thought I was serious. I'm like, bro, just because I'm an artist doesn't mean when I put out something that's serious. Like, can I have fun too? Like,
right.
you know, it's like because it was just like. I was like, oh, might as well. It's fun, you know what I mean? Like, I'm glad he did that. Like, I want to let people know that, yeah, I could take a joke, too. Like, I can be funny with it, you know? Like, maybe my track kind of sounded serious, but to me, it's like, no, I just wanted him to put out something, too, because it was like, I liked the way he put it out, like the video and stuff. So it was like, I just wanted to add some fuel to that fire, you know? Keep it going.
Yeah, it's it's funny how the internet works, man, because like it's the things that you're more serious about, people don't take it seriously. Then it's, you know, vice versa. Like when you're not serious, then they take it seriously. It's a funny dynamic with the internet. And speaking about the internet, man, like you in 2012 you started Peb Hmoob Productions, right? Mm-hmm. And I guess that's when you finally kind of took off with the whole YouTube scene, and that's when you first got TL with you, right?
Yeah.
So can you talk about that process, how that all happened?
Yeah, so I guess with YouTube, I was really late to the game because there was a lot going on already, but I never really took advantage of that until me and TL got together. And the way we got together was, it was at the Michigan Hmong New Year in 2011. So at that time, my uncle was running the sounds for the New Year, and then he wanted me to be a part of it. So I helped him run the sounds. Then I saw this one dude performing. I'm like, oh shoot, this kid he's pretty dope, you know. And he's out here passing out mixtapes too, which kind of, you know, which reminded me of myself when I was younger. So like, to me, it just I appreciated him more just because of him doing that. So then he gave me a mixtape. I listened to it, and to this day, I still think that mixtape is fire. Like he killed it. And then I hit him up. He came through, did the Movement remix, you know, that one Movement. And then after that, we recorded it on the map. And then, yeah, the rest is history. And that's when I started getting more into YouTube and actually putting more music out, us trying to do music videos and all that.
I guess a lot of your song is about, like, I guess, progressing. And you do advocate for like change in the Hmong community. Is that something that you're still trying to push to with, I guess, with your label too? Is that something that's still an ideal goal?
It is, but not to that extent no more, because I feel like, I don't know, I feel like what I wanted to say has already been said. So if I keep saying it, it's just going to be repetitive. You know what I mean? So. I mean, it's still a good topic, and I know there's still a lot of people out there that still talk about it, but I don't know, maybe not as much, I guess you could say. Like, it's just, I don't know, we just want to try different things now, I guess.
And when you look back, like, to the stuff that you were saying back then, and because you were actually one of the first that was actually, like, you know, again, for my people's track, you were talking about, like, how Hmong people in the community don't, there's not enough support, and we don't support each other, and then there's like how we need to change to adapt and all that. And you were speaking this stuff way before it's changing now. Like now today, like the past year, like 2 or 3 years now, everyone's like just pushing and supporting, and like, you know, with the likes of like David, Peter, and all those guys, like they're really like pushing what you were saying back then. So how does that feel?
It's a great feeling, and you know, those guys, like every now and then I talk to those guys too, and just to hear them tell me stuff too, like it's a great feeling. Sometimes I really don't notice like what kind of an impact I actually had on people, or like the Hmong music industry, whatever. But then like when I really look back, I guess you could say, you know, I guess I'm proud of myself. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean that's something to take pride in, because like like you're saying, like, you don't notice it, but for me, like when I've seen all this happen, it's like you kind of look back and it's like, okay, LP is part of that, like the whole beginning of this change. Like David's taken it to a whole new level.
Yeah.
But when I look back at it, I'm like, yeah, because that started because Paul and Rare and these other Hmong rappers who started, they were pushing for this, and now with the help of the digital age and YouTube and social media, that's really everything's moving fast.
And like that's like thank God for that too, because I think social media really it really helped out our little industry to where like some of these guys I know they don't even have to work no more. They could just do music. You know what I mean? And like it really pays off because sometimes you don't even have to put nothing out for people to buy. You just put it on YouTube and then you get paid through ads and stuff. It's like you're basically putting out free music, but you're getting paid for it. You know what I mean? So it's a win-win for the viewers and for the artists. You know what I mean? So it's like it's a really good thing. And I noticed like back then the support was there, but it wasn't as much as it is now. And and it's a great thing, especially for the younger generation. So all the artists that are really trying to do something, they just got to keep trying because the support is there. And I noticed there's a lot of artists that didn't think the support was there, and then all they really had to do was just kind of like find the right sound, you know what I mean? And once they did, it's like the support's there.
When you started off with Peb Hmoob, it's you and TL, then you guys recruited Jer and Art, which was TNT at the time. I don't know, are they still TNT together or are they separate?
No, they're just separate now.
Okay. But when you did have them, they were TNT.
Yeah.
And then now, were you already looking out for them already because of their music background already, or did they come to you?
We was interested already because I have seen those guys like perform before here and there, and then they post up videos and stuff like that on Facebook and YouTube, and I've seen a lot of potential in those guys. That's the reason why we decided they could be part of the team, and especially because they're local too. I'm not saying that we don't want to or we won't work with anybody out of town, but it's just I don't know. It's easier when it's local, and I really like to show people like, oh, people from Michigan, we got talent too. We don't have to be from a city that is filled with Hmong people to be able to do what we do. You know what I mean? So for us to be able to have an impact in the Hmong community, but to come from a city like where we're from, to me, I think that's a big thing.
I think the last time I spoke to you about this topic was like I think a year or two ago. But I remember I mentioned to you, I was drunk at the time, but I mentioned to you that why didn't you host or try to do auditions for, I guess, up and coming artists or artists who were interested in your label? Can you kind of go over that again, like why you didn't just have people come in and do open auditions or stuff like that?
I think my main reason why I don't want to do that is because I don't know. I don't like to tell people like, oh no, you know what I'm saying, or like, oh, you're not good enough. That's just me. Like, I don't really want to be judgmental on people. Like,
so you'd rather look at their artwork or their craft instead of just having them come in and then you have to like tell them no on the spot, kind of.
Yeah, because sometimes like I might tell them no, and then it could just be that they need more time. You know what I mean? So I would rather like just kind of like find artists that I like or whatever, and then if it does work out, then we work together. If it doesn't, then it doesn't. Instead of like having people send me stuff, and then because I don't want to like I don't know, make promises that I can't fulfill. Like if I was to say, okay, yeah, I'm gonna try to sign an artist, and everybody's sending, and then I don't find nothing, or if I do and then I can't fulfill that, then
and then they're gonna be saying stuff Paul's not keeping his word and whatnot.
So I would rather just like when I'm ready and know that we can do something.
Now, do you keep in contact with any of the artists that you had with on the I guess on the Peb Hmoob CD that you had with TL on the map? Like you had a bunch of artists on there on that track, like from the Cypher, the Movement remix, your Future track. You had a lot of different various artists. Like, did they just reach out to you and you just looked at their music, or did you select those artists?
I selected those artists.
Okay.
Yeah. So for that album, I guess you could say, since the title was On the Map, we was like, let's try to feature as many Hmong artists as we can and help put them on the map, you know.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, to this day, I still keep in touch with those artists every now and then. Probably, you know, we don't really talk too much, but when I see them, you know, it's still all love, and if they put out something new, we'll still share it, talk about it.
Yeah, I've seen on YouTube, like, I still go back and look at the comments for those tracks back in like 2012, and like a lot of people are saying, you know, if you do a Movement 2 remix, you know, like 2.0 with the new artists and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Is that something that you plan to do?
I don't think I will. Cause if I did, I would feel like I'm milking it. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it's like, to me, it's like a classic in its own. So just leave it. You know what I mean?
Right. Always start something new instead of going back.
Yeah. Because if I do Movement 2.0, then it's like, I don't know. To me, it wouldn't feel right. I wouldn't mind doing another collab, like a big collab with all the new artists. Like, that's something I do have in mind. I just haven't had the time to put something together. But for me to say a Movement 2.0, I don't think that's gonna happen. Yeah, I don't think that's gonna. We're gonna let that be 2012.
Right.
You know,
we gotta move on.
Yeah. We're gonna move on.
Now, speaking of collabs, now how does that work for you? Do you? I know that some artists do like for free out of love. Now, and I know some artists have to eat, so they do charge.
Yeah.
Now, for you, is that how you did it too? Like, do you just, I guess, charge an artist for a feature, or vice versa? Did they charge you?
Me personally, I have never charged for a feature.
Okay.
Never. I just do it out of love, and but that's just me. But then for the On the Map album, yeah, all of that was just out of love too, or it would be, you know, if they needed a verse from us, it would be like a trade off.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So I guess like it just, I guess it's all out of love. So nothing like, you know, I kind of want a little bit of this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, do you think like with, I guess, just being on this topic with the music and stuff, like now that everything's changing with this fast progress with everyone getting more views, more followers and stuff like that, do you feel like you need to, I guess, chase or bring yourself back up to, I guess, a top tier level now that you see all the rise of these other artists?
Yeah, I mean, if I wanted to get back in that spotlight, me personally, I'm not, you know, like, I don't even consider myself an artist anymore. I'm just more of that dude in the background. Okay. And if I do it, it's just for myself, and, you know, it's just because I love to do it. So, but if I was really trying to get back into it, I think, yeah, I would have to, because a lot has changed, you know, and just seeing, like, the way music is now, and, like, who's getting views and who's not, and, you know, who's getting buzz and who's not. It's like you really got to study that and kind of implement that into your music, but just do it with your own style, you know. But yeah, if I had to, I guess you could say I would. But me personally, I think I'm past that stage now.
So now you're just more observing everyone now, and that's coming up.
Yeah, and if I do put out something, you know, like I said, that's just me doing it because I want to, you know, I want to do it, and because I love music.
And you did that back in August, right? That 20-day sample track.
The beats.
Yeah, because I know I forgot to mention this at the beginning, but I did want to thank you in person for letting me use your music, because
no problem,
I used one of them for last year, and then I'm gonna use another one for this year, different track. And thank you, Loman, because like, you know, on your description, like, it's free to use, just give you credit. That's what I've been doing every time I use your beats. I always give you guys credit. And now a lot of people do ask this too, though, because now that you've mentioned that you're in the background observing, is TL gonna come back at all?
Yeah.
Do you know anything about that?
Yeah, he's waiting. I mean, everybody's been busy with life, honestly. Like, the past few years, like, it's been, I guess you could say, we've been taking a break, but you know how it is. Like, when you take a break, it's really hard to get back on your feet. You know what I mean? So we just been busy with life. You know, he has a kid on the way, and today is actually his birthday.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Happy birthday,
So
TL.
happy birthday,
Yeah.
TL. Yeah, today is actually his birthday too. So, yeah, we plan on doing. We actually have his second album. Like we've been working on it. A lot of tracks. The concept is there. We just have to sit down and finalize the recordings and piece it all together. But it's there.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
That's good to know.
Hopefully this year, that's what I'm shooting for. Because it'd be 5 years since he dropped his first album already.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Damn. Kind of got like that Adele thing going on,
Yeah.
right?
But we'll see because, I mean, he has a lot of stuff. And I have it stashed up too. And I always listen to it. But it's just not like, it's not where we want it to be. That's all.
Okay.
And we have a concept behind the album too. So we want to make sure like everything is right. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but when you release it, it's all like flames. And...
Yeah, because I don't know. I think we're at the point in our life that we don't really care about like making sales or like, you know, being out there all the time. We just want to take our time with music and put it out when we want to. I mean, it's good to have like, you know, a deadline, but then I don't want to rush it, you know. I don't feel like we need to. I just want to make sure that is right for the fan base.
So you guys are like really content where you're at right now, then, right?
Yeah, like I'm in no rush to do anything.
Yeah,
you know?
I think that's good too. That way you don't, that way you don't feel pressured to like I gotta drop this now. You know, it's you're slowly making it as perfect as you can, and so now that that's clear for all the listeners, now you know TL is still working on it, just taking his time. But I guess with him being requested, I know like a lot of like fans really wanted him to come back, and I know that I listened to one of the I forgot what the podcast was called, but Shang Li has mentioned that he wanted to work with TL. Is that something you guys worked on before?
No, we tried to. He was actually supposed to be on the track with Daning. Remember that track with the white dude?
Oh,
yeah. So it was supposed to be TL. Daning and then Shang Li, but at that time he was still working on his album, so he didn't do a verse.
Do you still keep in touch with him? Daning?
No, I think last time I talked to him was, I'd say, early 2018.
Man, like just thinking about that, like just like it was something small. Like just from a line from his verse, and it just blew up on Facebook.
Yeah, I got a lot of heat for that. It is what it is, man.
Yeah, just how people interpreted it. I didn't think it was as bad as it was, but I just thought it was to me. I thought that it was pretty humorous, you know, because like, man, like now everyone's like jumping on him. Honestly, I felt like it's because, you know, he's Keita, you know, he's white. You know, so I thought that was kind of funny. Like everyone just jumped on just on that topic.
It was to me. I just thought it was like taking it as just bars. You know what I mean? Like to me, like you know, it's just to me. It was just like it's just bars. Like it's I don't know.
Now, was he like the first person like outside of the Hmong community you worked with, or have you worked with like other? I guess
I worked with some other people too. I don't know if a lot of people know, but back in 2008, I produced some tracks for Jimmy Boy.
I think I've heard of him.
Yeah, Jimmy
Sounds
Boy.
familiar.
He's a jeweler now. He makes jewelry for like 6ix9ine and stuff.
Oh shit!
Yeah, and his daughter is they call her Ling Ling, whatever. So she's pretty big too. And then yeah, I produced for him, and then I actually produced for him again. Like I think it was like 2013 or something. So that was outside of the Hmong community. Little stuff here and there. I used to work with this label called Core 808. I was actually part of the label. This was like 2010, and we had like a group based off Hawaii.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so they was doing. I was producing for them. We just kind of grew apart like after that, and then I don't really know what everybody's been up to. It's been a while.
Do you plan to like do that too? Like if you ever, I guess, when you do get back into the whole music stuff, do you want to work with outside people from the Hmong, besides the Hmong community?
Yeah, definitely. Like with beats and stuff like that, I try to market that and outside of the community, but it's just you really got to find the right connects. You know what I mean?
Right.
And network, because there's a lot of people that can make promises, but it's like it doesn't. It's just all talk. So that's why I'm really conservative and like content with like my stuff. I don't really try to put it out too much because it's like a lot of people would tell me, "Oh, I know this, I know this person, I know that person. I can get you this person's connect, whatever, whatever." But then at the end of the day, like it doesn't happen.
Right.
So,
you don't want to waste time.
Yeah, so I don't want to waste time, and I don't want to waste material. Like
yeah.
giving all these people material, and then at the end of the day, it's like, it just goes to waste. I'd rather just hold it out to myself.
Right.
And if I don't do nothing with it, I'd give it to my kids if they could do something with it.
Exactly. So. Yeah, it's a lot of. I guess that's what it is now too, because like that's why a lot of people's, I guess, teams or their groups, they want to make sure like whoever they're working with actually comes through. Now, I guess throughout your experience, have you experienced that too? Like just having people come through or just having like false promises or not coming through or screwing you over at some point too? You ever experienced that?
I mean, back when we was like performing and stuff, like it would just be like promoters and stuff like that.
Oh, okay, that stuff.
Yeah, but I mean, like music wise, not really, because like I said earlier, I just kind of like pick and choose already before I even get into it. You know what I mean?
Man, because like that's a huge deal too. Because I guess a lot of artists are still going through that, having promoters and venues like screw them over, and like just recently that whole California thing, right, where they oversold tickets, and
yeah,
that was pretty bad.
So that I don't know, because there's a lot that goes with that too. Because it could be like sometimes the building that you rent out, right? They might say they have a certain capacity, but then once it starts filling up, they might feel like, oh my god, like it's too much, so we gotta cut it. Like early, like we gotta stop letting people in, even though it didn't fill a capacity. So sometimes the promoters don't really have control over that too.
Right.
So you can print out like a certain amount of tickets for their capacity, but then they might cut off the capacity 100 people short. So it's like
fire hazard.
Yeah.
And stuff
So
like that.
it's like it's really sometimes it's out of the promoters' hand too. They really can't control that.
Have you tried to work with like non-Hmong promoters at all? I know like those MySpace days, you had like that little snippet of you being on the radio. I remember that.
Yeah, we
Have you tried like promoting your music? I guess just outside of the Hmong industry too.
Yeah, we actually did a lot of stuff back then, like me and Buddha. You know Buddha. From here. Yeah, we used to go to like open mics in the D, like, and just go perform. And then they had a I think 97.9 had a. They had a little rap contest. I had went and did that too, and then that, like you said, the radio thing too. That's when there was actually a Hmong lady that used to work at 92.3, and she had to connect for the radio. That's how we got on.
Oh, nice.
Because Rare and them, they knew her. She's in Milwaukee now, but she used to be in Detroit, and then she had that connect, so she got me on the radio, and that was great. That was a great experience for me, because when I went, like, I seen Obi Trice, which was Eminem's artist at that time. I didn't say nothing, but it was just crazy, to see, like, what I mean?
Holy shit, they're right there.
It was nuts, but yeah, that, and then even like me and TL tried to do some too. They had like a hip hop conference back in like 2012, and we went and did a set with them, and they liked it, but it was just like, I guess the city, they have like a sound that they want, you know what I mean? There's a preference, so it's like if you don't have that sound and that preference, then you're not gonna get that support.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So even local Detroit rappers, like, they'll have a certain sound, and that's why the radio plays them. So it's like for us to do what we do and try to get out in the city, it'll be kind of hard, especially to get on like the radio, like 97.9 and stuff like that, because they want that trap stuff, that hard stuff, that, what I'm saying?
Right, like, all the stuff that everyone's
but
into.
It's like, that's not us, and we're not gonna fake it and be like, oh yeah, that's us. Like, we're gonna, we're not,
right. Yeah, there's a lot of that came in. Yeah, I can see
so
that
we
too.
Can't, that's one reason why we we don't really go out too much, but we tried. You know, it's not that we don't want to. It's just that, you know, you kind of just stick to what you know and you know, where you're accepted, I guess you could say.
Now, was it hard to, I guess, when you guys were, I think, when you guys did like concerts and stuff, was it hard? Were you guys trying to do like tours at all? Was that something that you guys planned for?
Yeah, we kind of did have plans for that, but the hard part about that is just like knowing people and expenses. You know what I mean?
Right, all the
like,
traveling and the booking.
So to like to do a show like in North Carolina, I would have to know somebody there that would help me book and whatever, and it would just be a little. You know, I didn't want to put too much pressure on certain people, especially if I'm not there to do the work. You know.
Okay.
So, but we do plan on doing like more shows here though locally, because that was one thing that we was trying to do is just do more shows here and bring like outside artists in and also showcase like the talent we have here.
Right, and I know you guys did quite a few already in the past few years.
Mm-hmm.
I went to the one where it was at, where was that at? The Fusion. I went to that one where you guys had like Khalid Universe there, David was there, Pong Vang was there.
Yeah,
I went to that one. I thought that one turned out pretty good until the whole mishap at the end, and then when I won't bring that up, but like yeah, I thought it was good up until that, and then like it just got wild.
Yeah.
Now I guess lately you posted on Facebook about the whole podcasting that you're trying to do, and we were talking about this earlier before we started recording. So for Peb Hmoob Podcast, what are your plans for that?
Basically, just gonna be like, I just wanted to make a platform for us, so we could just talk about things. You know what I mean? Like, and just kind of get us back in the groove. And not only just that, like I kind of want to extend it on different things too, like. Kind of let people know like the different things that I'm into, not only just music. You know what I mean? So we recorded one already, but this was with my other guys, like my sneaker guys, you know, like the shoe game guys. So that'll be one, and then me and the Peb Hmoob guys got to get together and do one for that, and then I plan on having other guests too, like. I want you on the show, and then we can talk.
Thank you.
Yeah, I want you on the show, and then we can talk about the process of podcasting, and you know, if anybody wants to get into it, you know, let them know how to do it, and you know, just certain things like that. So different aspects of things, and just so people can kind of see that, you know, it's not just all about music. You know what I mean? All the time.
Yeah, because like as of right now, a lot of people just know Peb Hmoob as the record label.
Yeah.
So, but do you listen to any other podcasts too? Like how one of my favorites is Dumbfounded. He does the whole like Asian progressiveness, and he's always inviting like a different type of guest on, or like how Timothy Delgado, just him and his crew, like they just talk about anything on the podcast.
Yeah. I actually watched a few of those, and like, you know, and that's why I want to get into it, because I mean it just seems like a fun thing to do, because basically it's just like everybody sitting around and talking, but then we're just recording it. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's just good conversations, and I feel like a lot of times we have that, but then it's like, you know, we don't have footage of it. You know, so why not?
And just come up with topics and just talk about anything, because that's the thing about podcasting that I always found, like when I first was doing podcasting, that was something that I thought that was kind of weird at first. Like people are really into just hearing people talk. And
yeah,
I guess with you and your crew, like that's something that a lot of Hmong folks would love to hear, because now they're like, oh, now what's he doing now? You know, and trying to keep up with a lot of the Michigan artists and seeing what they're doing. But then I look forward to your podcast, man. Like, when I saw that photo, I'm like, oh shit, like he's podcasting now. Like, oh man, that's gonna be something exciting to see. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that, and I really look forward to like the guests that you'll be pulling, because I know you know quite a few people, so that's what I'm really looking forward to.
I'll try to keep it interesting.
And you mentioned your shoe guys and stuff like that. So one of my buddies from Minnesota, I got some like one or two fan questions here for you. So my buddy Toy Yang, he was like, "What's your favorite shoe?" Since they've been seeing that stuff too, like.
Oh yeah. As of right now, my favorite shoe is the Yeezy 700 Wave Runners. That's my favorite shoe right now.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm not a big shoe guy, so like to me it's all the same. But I know like with shoe collectors and all that stuff, like it's almost like comic books, really. Like you
Yeah,
gotta like find the one that like stands out.
like the way I got into it was like I wasn't even like a shoe guy. Like it was like when we started going out to sell like TL CDs, right? And then like he would clown me all the time, like, "Oh man, why you got biscuits?" Yeah, he would always say, "Bro, why you got them biscuits?" So he would always clown me. I was like, "Man, whatever." And then like I don't know, just one of them days, and we went to the mall and bought a shoe, and then I was like, "Damn, it do kind of feel good to have some nice shoes, right?" And then from there on, like, and then they just kept adding because then my brother-in-law, like, Jack and my nephews, Michigan Streetwear, Kobe and Ethan, they, they're really into shoes too, and they've been into shoes for the longest. And so like I just started getting into shoes more, and then like we just started talking more about it, and they got me even more into it. So now it's like a second addiction, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah, like
music,
on Instagram, I've seen some of their. I follow them on Instagram, and I've seen that you've helped them out too, right, with the sales. And you went to a shoe convention. Is that what it was?
Yeah, they have like sneaker exchange shows. It's crazy out there. So you go there, right, and then because they always have a table, and they just set up shop, and then it's just like us going to New Year's and tournaments and selling CDs, but they go and they have shoes and they just sell shoes. It's pretty nuts out there. And yeah, I've helped them out here and there. They helped me out too. And we actually had one of my guys film a little promo for them too, which is dope.
Yeah, I think I saw that. Like, it was really cool to see. Like I didn't honestly like I didn't know that like shoe conventions were like that. Like I've been to Comic Cons and stuff like that, but to see other like conventions that look like Comic Con, I'm like, holy shit, that's a legit thing.
They actually have a sneaker con too. It is pretty big. I never been to one, but.
And you went to Comic Con, right? You went to Michigan Comic Convention with your kids. Mm-hmm. Yeah, how was that? Was that your first Comic Con that you went to?
My first one. It was a good experience. I mean, I'm not really into it, but then to see like people dress up and all that, my kids loved it. Like my son, like he's super into Spider-Man, so like I have them dress up in costumes too. So to him, it was the greatest time of his life, and he get to see other Spider-Mans, and it was great.
Yeah, it's a good thing you started off with that convention. I think I heard rumors that that they might not continue that, I guess, that brand of comic convention, because I think their sales from this year from last year versus the year before, it wasn't as much.
Oh, it kept declining.
Yeah, so I'm not 100% sure, but if you live in Michigan or know about this convention, Michigan Comic Convention was actually, I thought it was pretty legit for a small convention like that. It was very cheap. Like you could do a lot in one day. So
yeah, they had a lot of celebrities and stuff there too.
Yeah, I met voice actors there. Like I know one of the Harry Potter guys was there. Like that line was crazy. Mm-hmm. But yeah, like I thought that was really cool to see like you brought your kids over and like they were all dressed up like that, and to see them with all the cosplayers there. Yeah. That was a pretty cool thing. Because like you hit me up, you're like, how busy is it over there? I'm like, it's not too bad, but parking might be a bitch, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, because I seen the commercial. I'm like, oh man, I think they would enjoy it, and it was cool. I had a good time.
Do you think Hmong people should do that? Some sort of convention like that? I mean, like the New Year's are similar, but like at the same time, it's like I feel like with conventions, it brings a different atmosphere.
Yeah, I think we need like a genre for that. You know what I mean? Like I think somebody needs to like, I don't know, like. What do you think? Do you think if somebody was to come up with something, because you know how like that, it's like, it's comics and people like to dress up as those characters, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's because Comic Con started off with comic books, and now it's just really pop culture now.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think I don't want to say, I think the closest to it is probably H-Con, just because they have con in it. Yeah. But like, even then, I feel like because like I think it's a great way for Hmong artists to make money when I look at it from that point of view. Because like a lot of people get mad when artists are trying to sell their CDs or push out clothing, and some people don't want to buy that. They just want to get the free picture and go. Yeah. So like I felt like the whole Yasmin situation, right, where she was talking about like how people didn't want to donate and stuff like that. I've talked about this before on previous podcasts, but like the reason I bring this up because that's a good segue to this point I'm making is like okay, if it was in a different atmosphere, you would actually pay to take photos with these celebrities,
I think
right?
if it was like, yeah, like you're right. Like if it wasn't like a New Year, because a New Year is like, that's. I'll get to this in a little bit, but like a New Year is just like it's not really based on the artists. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a whole different thing. But we're just there because we know that there's a lot of people there, so we can make sales. But like I guess you're right. Like if we had something where it was just like based like for us, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
where
like
people would know, okay, we're going there because these artists are
yeah,
gonna be
like
there.
Hmong convention. Like I've always thought of it like this. Like if it was like a Hmong based convention, right? So for example, you would have a booth, Yellow Diamond would have their booth, and other independent or individual artists would have their own booths. And like, not saying that you guys would upcharge your photo prices, but like imagine if like for you and Tia, you guys did like $5-10 a photo with an autograph, and if fans were like about you guys like that, then yeah, you guys would actually pull in quite some money with just that. And that's how I felt like with some of the whole Yasmin situation. I was like, man, like imagine she just did like $5 a picture
Yeah.
with an autograph or something like that. She could have made up for the whole donation thing.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I guess people don't really see it like that. I guess but again, it's the whole atmosphere. And it's the genre, like you were saying. I think with New Year, with New Year's, it's a community thing.
Yeah.
And then versus like conventions, like oh shit, like this is strictly
Yeah.
them.
And then sometimes some people feel like, I don't know, like when you're like a public figure like that, they just feel like, oh, why do you need to charge me? Like I should just get it for free. You know what I'm saying? So like they just feel like they're entitled to that. You know what I mean? But what they don't understand is, it's a job. It really is a job. Like,
because like honestly, if I feel like if fans were really about their artist like that or whoever they're supporting, that you wouldn't mind. Like when I went to the Yellow Diamond booth, I think 2 years ago up in Minnesota for J4, when I saw David and Peter, and I went to the table. I was buying David's album. And the lady came up, she's like, what do you want? What kind of, like, who do you want with the picture with? I'm like, how much are you guys charging? I was willing to pay for that. And the lady was like, oh, no, you're not, you don't have to pay. I'm like, what? The way how you guys have your booth set up, that's what I felt like, like $10. Okay, I wouldn't mind with David and Peter. Like, come on, I got that for free. Yeah. And, like, you see them hustling in the back, like, and stuff like that. So, like, I think artists have to, I guess, or at least for me, a lot of Hmong artists should not be afraid to ask for that. Or they don't even have to ask for that. If you know your value, then you should be able to be like, it's just $5. Like,
see, I think that'll take like like all the artists to like agree on that. You know what I mean? Like it would have to be like a standard. You know what I mean? Like somebody has to set a standard and be like, okay, from now on we all don't take free pictures. We all don't go to New Year's. We're all gonna just go to this Hmong artist convention. You know what I mean? If we could do that, then it could happen. But there's always going to be those certain people that are like, I'll still go. Do you guys don't want to, but I'll still go. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I know, well, a lot of us artists, we talked about this before too, where we should make a standard $1,000 charge for performances. So every artist should charge that price, right? Just so vendors won't promoters won't lowball us. Because now I'm 1,000, he's 1,000, whoever you ask is 1,000. So no matter what, whoever gets to go, they're gonna get paid. But then there's gonna be some people that, oh, I'll do it for $5. Don't let nobody know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if everybody can agree on one price, then the promoters have no choice but to pay us.
That's a great point. I think honestly, I feel like with how the Hmong industry is right now, I think that's something that's possible. Mm-hmm. I really hope that goes well for all the new artists and like even for you, man, because like, you've seen this like we've mentioned before, like. The whole come up of from when you started till now, it's a huge difference. It's changed a lot, and I think it'd be great for a lot of artists to be able to be like, because some artists are now living off of just the YouTube ads, like you were saying, and I think that'd be great. It's a great way to kind of push our artists up. And now we have independent artists who are being able to, they know their value and their worth. Because I feel like when you get lowballed and you got fans who don't want to support, you kind of lose that. I guess what you're worth.
It kind of kills your motivation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Then you're like, why do I even do this? Because honestly, that's one part like with us too. Like why we kind of like slow down, because it's like a lot of times you go and do it, but you're just breaking even. So basically, you just keep doing it because you love to do it, but it takes a toll on like time that you don't have with your kids, your family. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because a lot of times all these events are like during holidays. So if I was to go out of town, I would miss out on holidays with my family and all that. So it's like, when you think about it, is it really worth it? Sometimes, but it's like, it's something you enjoy doing, and that's just what we got to do sometimes.
You heard that, people? Because LP said it, and I said it, man. Because this is something that I want to push for, man. Because I've been seeing this for a very long time, and I always felt like if we can pay for Comic-Con artists and celebrities, we can pay our own artists too. Because like I dropped like $60 to meet Steven Yeun at Comic-Con, man. I was like, dude, if I could pay that much just to meet Steven Yeun for like 15 seconds, I wouldn't mind paying you or TL like $10 for a quick photo and autograph. It's like, come on, it's very simple, man. Because like, you gotta this is something that you guys are pursuing, man. Like, it's something that you gotta make money off of. It's not, I mean, it'd be nice for it to be free, but we gotta be really honest with ourselves. Like, this is something that you're chasing. This is your job.
And you're basically just paying for their time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that's all it is.
Have you thought about crowdfunding, like Patreon, stuff like that?
No, I would never do that. That's just me personally. like that's one thing I don't understand is like, some people doing like GoFundMe's to start an album, right? But then you're gonna charge for the album too. So it's like, I mean, I don't know. Everybody got their own way of, making money and hustling or whatever. But to me, I just feel like that's a hustle. If the people are giving you money already, and at the end of the day, you still gonna have them pay you to get what they already paid you for. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
Just like you're getting more money on money. That's
yeah.
okay.
So I don't know. It's just, to me, I wouldn't do it personally.
Yeah, I think that'd be good for your podcast though, because a lot of podcast artists are doing that. Like Kev on Stage, his Righteous and Ratchet podcast, or Patrick Cloud and like the Damn Internet You're Scary. Like they've got a good fan base just for their podcast alone. Like they do like special exclusive episodes, and I think they only charge their followers like $5 a month just to be a part of that plan. And that's something I've actually been looking into as well. Like if I can try to build up my own fan base, that's something I am looking forward to doing. Like just $5 a month.
See like that. That's understandable because they're paying for the content. You know what I mean?
Right, and that's what I was trying to ask you too. Like, is that something that you would want to do?
Yeah, like that I wouldn't mind that because they're paying for it and you're giving them content already. But what I was just saying is like just the GoFundMe. Artists is doing GoFundMe to make an album. Like, I don't understand that.
Yeah, like, and it's funny about GoFundMe is like the reason, like you were saying how artists want an album, like please help me to make an album, and that's like strictly there's no reason why. It's just you're kind of suspicious about like, do I really want to give you free money right now? Like,
that's what I'm saying, because I'm gonna make the album and I'm gonna make you pay for it anyway. So it's like, come on, man. But like you said about the people paying for content, like that's cool with me. I'm fine with that.
Okay, so before we wrap things up, man, because I know that you've got a busy afternoon and evening as well. I guess besides the Hmong podcast, do you have any other future plans? Is that something that you're trying to do or push out?
I really do want to have the whole group come out again this year, like the whole Hmong thing. Like, but I want to make sure if we do come back, then I want us to come back strong. You know what I mean? So if we make a comeback this year, it's got to be strong. If we don't come out, that's because to me I felt like it's not strong enough. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But my plan is to like do something this year. Like right now, I mean, I want to do I want to drop TL stuff, so I want to make sure we get that going. So TL, Jur, more Hmong products, the podcast, and
Yeah, honestly, like I said, I'm really looking forward to the podcast. I know a lot of fans are like looking forward to your merch, and that's something that people still actually really want to get and buy.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to that too. And also I do want to just shout out DC Reacts really quick. Have you heard of his contest he's doing?
I actually follow dude too. I love his content.
Yeah.
And his contest, like you said, like that's dope.
Yeah, because I was actually up to like 4 a.m. just watching his live stream on YouTube. And for those who are listening, DC Reacts only does it during that time, and then he deletes it. So it's either you miss it or you get to see it. But he was talking about some of the contest rules and stuff. He's gonna do a video based on all that. But I did want to shout him out because I told him that I was gonna mention his contest on this episode. So to any aspiring Hmong rappers out there who want to win $300, join that contest because it's a small contest right now, and DC just really wants to push out like new talent. That's what he's really pushing for.
Y'all better step your game up because I might enter that contest too.
Yeah.
No, I'm playing.
I think this is great because that way we can see more Hmong talent too. Because I think through his channel, honestly, I've discovered a lot of new Hmong artists.
Yeah.
And like 2019 alone, like that, I never really listened to Hmong music like I did before. And last year I was like on it. From guys from Kid Swami, David Yang, Shang Li, Kalia Universe's huge summer comeback, you know, like all that stuff. I was like on it, and so hopefully for you guys as well, this year for 2020 being everyone's year.
Yeah.
I hope you guys come back big.
It's everyone's year, 2020. We'll see.
Yeah, and did you want to plug or shout out anyone at all?
I guess just shout out to all the artists out there that's still doing it, you know, because I know the work and everything like that is hectic and it's crazy, and you know, just keep doing it, man. You guys are inspiring me, and all the Hmong producers out there too. I don't think we get enough credit or love, man. So shout out to all my Hmong producers out there, and like you guys are killing it. I hear y'all stuff and it makes me want to quit producing sometimes. You know what I mean? So shout out to those guys, and you know, shout out to my Hmong guys. You know, we got to get back into it. And then, like we said earlier, happy birthday to TL. His birthday today. And then, yeah, shout out to my Michigan Streetwear guys, my shoe guys, and shout out to you, man, for having me here.
Oh, thank you, man.
Me on this podcast,
Dude, like,
man.
I gotta say, man, I thank every one of my guests, but like, man, thank you, man, because like for not just you, but all my guests, really, because I said this in my last episode for my recap. Like, I honestly was not expecting to get the guests I get now, and especially you, because I for me, like, I still see you as LP, man. I already said this, man. Like, just talking to you as Paul and seeing you as LP, for me, it's still a huge thing for me. I'm like, because I was still a kid when I saw you perform, so to me, like, in a way, I have you on a pedestal. In a way, you know? Like,
you gotta put me on that pedestal, man.
I'm like, holy shit! Like, it's LP. Like, oh my god, you know, like I thank you, man, because this is a great experience for me, and you know, for listeners to know you better, because like you've said, man, like they only know your music sometimes, and that way we get to see the other side of LP, and that way we know that, okay, he's just not only the producer, we get to see the other side, the regular everyday guy. And I do want to let you guys know as well, on Wednesday I will be having William Hung on my podcast.
William Hung, that's
so
crazy.
Yeah, that's a crazy thing, because like, you know, I was not expecting to get a response from him. Because like, you know, it's funny. I'll say this on the podcast. I'm gonna mention this on his episode too, but I'll say it now exclusively just because I have you here.
Yeah.
So, how I got him to respond back was like my buddies and we were looking at old videos and stuff, and my you know how Venom 559 did the whole William Hung dub? We saw that, right? And so I'm like, damn.
Imagine if I could get him on.
Yeah, I'm just like, what am I doing? Like, what's he doing now, man? Because like, you know, we've always made fun of him, but you know, I look back and I'm just like, wasn't he working with the cops or something like that? So I looked into his stuff, and surprisingly, I'm like, wow, he's a motivational speaker now. So yeah, so like, he had like TED Talks this year, and I'm like, damn, like he's changed. And so I emailed. He had his own website. He wrote a book recently. I'm like halfway through the book, and I emailed him, but then that same day he responded back. I'm just like, wow, man, I was at work. I'm like, this is not real right now. I clicked on his links to make sure it was legit. I'm like, holy shit, William Hung responded back to me. So we set this whole thing up, and like, it was funny because he was like, can you send me your calendar like through email? I don't know how to do any of that shit. So I was messing up all these links, and he was like, you know, I'll just do it for you. So he sent me the date and time, because apparently he's been doing this with a lot of other people too. So so he was like, next Wednesday at 12 p.m. PST. So So pretty much it's 3:00 here in Eastern time.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, all right, so that's I guess it's booked. I'm gonna email him again just to make sure like he's not gonna back out or anything. But yeah, I'm so excited for that. Like this is like that. Honestly, he's my biggest draw I've ever gotten. I'm still like, it's still surreal to me. Like,
Yeah, that's
the dude was on TV on American Idol and stuff like that. Like, holy shit.
The thing about him is like his name is like when you say it, people automatically know. You know what I mean? So that's crazy.
And I'm so glad that you agreed to today's podcast, because when I did the whole promotional thing, I think that's what helped this too. Because like they saw William Hung's picture next to yours. I'm like, oh shit.
People were like, what?
I hope people didn't.
William Hung.
I hope people didn't get that mixed up, man. Because like I think some people probably thought that you were gonna talk to William Hung.
That's the funny part, because it was like, I don't know, people. I guess some people that was on my friends list was just like, what? Like, I was like, I don't know, man. But that's dope though.
So stay tuned. It's gonna be recorded on Wednesday, but then I'm gonna try to get it edited and like released either the night after or later that weekend. But I gotta work on like putting my dates right, because I know that I said that we were podcasting today. I think some people expect the episode to drop today, so I gotta work on that. I gotta work on releasing my date times, because I just record whenever.
Yeah, see, that's true. It's like you'll mention the record date, but then it's like that's not the drop date. You know what I mean?
So like they expected that, and now I'm like,
so now we just gotta announce the drop dates. Not
yeah,
the record dates,
I gotta work on that. But yeah, man, thank you so much again. I mean, I've had a blast, man. I wish we had more time to do this. Maybe next time when there's more free time and I can get you back on the podcast again, we'll go talk even longer.
Even like when I bring you here and we record my stuff. Like,
yeah, I'm looking forward to that, man. But man, so thank you again, Elfie. Thank you so much, man, because I've had a great time, and I hope that to those who are listening enjoyed this episode. Make sure you guys follow Paul and Peb Hmoob Productions on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube. And yeah, don't forget about these guys, man. They're still relevant to the Hmong music. And yeah, and make sure you guys follow Spoiler Force Podcast. And if you guys want to contact me, or I guess through email, it's popluckpodcast@gmail.com. That way, if you have any questions, concerns, comments, or whatever, that way I can respond to you guys through that way as well. That way I can get more engagement too. And subscribe to Spoiler Force Podcast on YouTube, SoundCloud, Apple Podcast. I would do Spotify, but Spotify has like a time limit, so I'm just like, I'm not going to deal with that. So this is episode 35. Again, I can't thank you enough, Paul. Thank you so much for doing this with me, man.
Thank you for having me, man.
And yeah, I hope that whoever's listening to this has a great day. And again, happy birthday, T.O. I forgot about that. Just happy birthday. And I do want to get him on the podcast. I think I messaged him before. He was busy at the time, but I know some people were like, he's really into aliens and stuff like that. So I think that'd be a good topic for that.
He'll be a good talk.
Oh, and one final thing. I wanted to mention this. On the On the Map track, you said we will be on Mars, or Hmong people are going to be on Mars. Is that something you think that's possible with Elon Musk?
Anything's possible, man. Anything is possible, honestly. Anything is possible. I mean, it might not happen in my lifetime, but could happen on the next.
Okay. And if that's the case, I hope we're on the map on Mars, man. That'd be great. And again, thank you so much for listening. Have a great day. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to subscribe, follow, like, share, comment, and rate Spoiler Force Podcast. For comments, questions, concerns, and criticism, you can email Spoiler Force Podcast at popluckpodcast, popluckpodcast @gmail.com, or contact me personally on Instagram.com/RickyVang92, RickyVang92.